Hi all, I thought I'd make a video on getting a map to work. Very simple. So there's all I've done is using Cordova in the command line. I created a project, that's it, and added an Android platform. Nothing more, nothing less. And there it is. So as you see, it's got the basic standards, and it's got a platform, and it's got Android. I've added some plugins though. I've got location, Google Maps, and the native geocoder, the navigation basically. So is all you got to do in this. I use Android Studio, so I'll get that up and running for you. So when you load up Android Studio, dun, 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 right, I'll actually show you how to import a project into Android Studio. It's not as straightforward as you think. So come on, I'll close the existing project and show you how to open it up. So what you need to do is go to Import Project Eclipse, and then find your package that you created. In my case, I created a folder Cordova projects, and in that is the actual folder I want. So you click on that, and then you have to click on platforms. Then you have to load up the Android platform, not the whole package, just the Android platform, and that's basically it. And it will load up. Eventually. Okay, we're in. Ignore that. So when you load it up, you'll see a Cordova Live, an Android, and your Cradle. So to get to our file, they're stored in assets, and there we go. We have an index, which is our main page, and we also want to have a look at the JavaScript. Right. Now in the index, this is just standard. So what you need to do, you also need to get rid of that line. You want to keep that line, get rid of that line, as I say, you don't need it anymore, and keep those two. In fact, you could actually delete them to make your life easier. But hey. Right. This standard here, you don't want it. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put it all back on again. And then you can see it. And I'll get rid of the work I've done for you. Which is that? Oh. Actually, I think that's part of it actually. Div. Yeah, it is. There we go again. And then now there's a plugin, a Cordova, a Genymotion plugin rather, in Android Studio, which is just so much easier to use. This is all in one, you see. So we'll just wait till our little fella loads up. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it crashes, but hopefully. Yeah, we're in there. Okay, we can close it down now, and I'll just run it. So I am going to choose that device, Genymotion, and we'll see what happens. What's going on? Why it wouldn't work, I don't know. Let's try it again. Just for laugh. It's been working all this time. Okay, brilliant. That's what you get then. That's basically the standard install for Apache Cordova, and that's a little test screen you get with it. So I'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of that. I'll get rid of that. Okay, so what we don't want to do then, we don't want to be using that anymore. As I say, you could delete it, but and I'll put this thing back. Okay, pain in the arse, but I'll just run it again. No, okay, the only thing we've kept is this ID here of the div ready, and I've got my own class, which is my app, and that's just a standard heading, a canvas, and a button. Basically, I'll comment out this because this is something I've been working on for later. This has nothing to do with getting your map up. Okay, now the class I wrote is in the CSS, so we'll have a look at that. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm ignoring this one. I don't want to use this one anymore. I want my own one, which is just basically that. It's got a position absolute, so it's center. It's got a width, it's got a height, it's left aligned. So we'll get that up and running in Genyimation and see what happens. Excellent. Excellent, you say. But where's our canvas? Gone. Alright. Well, the best way I found to debug this thing, I put an extra class in it. Oh, where's the autocomplete gone? Right, class. What class did I call it? Canvas, yeah. And it's all canvas does. It puts a nice little border around it, solid border. That's all. So we can debug it. We can see where it is. Canvas. Okay, we'll run it again. See what happens. This is a slow part of the building process. Right, I'll have a cup of tea. Excellent. So we know our canvas is displayed. We know that we've clicked on the map, or on the button rather. Where's the map? Still no map. GPS not set. Aha! As soon as we set the GPS, there we are. Open University. Job done. Okay, we'll update the map. Alerts are good, but they're very annoying. Okay, there we go. There's the basic map. There's the marker. Simple. So that's all we do with the standard code. We don't want that, so we just comment it out. We want to keep that line. We want to keep those two lines. We're not bothered with that standard Cordova stuff. Get rid of that completely. But we do need to keep this div class. That's very important. My app is just starting up basically, you know, making sure there's a margin there and a margin there, the text is centered, blah blah blah, you know. The canvas, basic canvas class, It's just adding a nice pretty little border so we can see that our canvas is actually working. And there's our button. Now it's very important you see the button ID there. Okay, so we whip out our Java class, or sorry, our JavaScript class. This is all you need to get a fully functional map. You need a global variable address. You don't actually need that. There's a callback function, so on success it'll go there. That's it. So if we got up here, this code under a separate bar will not get called. This will not get called until this callback on success. In other words, that's good, that's failed. So on success, the map's loaded, geolocation's loaded, then it'll get called. There you go, on success. We get our map ID, our map canvas. Our map canvas, there, look, map canvas, ID, map canvas. We set the width and the height. That's the pointer to our map plugin that we've already installed in plugins. Now we've got to add an event listener to say, look, our Google map is loaded, it's fully functional, and we're ready. And when it's ready, it's going to go to on map ready. There's on map ready. So it calls that function. Basically, is all we're doing is getting our current location from the plugin, our position, our latitude and longitude. As a marker, we're specifying the type of map we want. We're specifying that we want a marker and a camera. Everything's set up. There's us adding our marker. Simple as that. Now this is a generic callback for failed functions, basically. So on error, that gets called. Up here, on error, that gets called. It just displays an alert with the error message. That's all. This is our button. Simple button. We'll go back to index. Find our button. Declare the button. Give it an ID. Give it a title. Simple as that. So, where are we? Yeah, in our button. There's a button. We declare it to a variable. Document get element by ID. There is the ID. There's the button one we're referencing. We add an event listener to it, so we click it. There's the on success. Goes there. That shouldn't be there. We actually call that. We can call that one on error, and that'll point to that. And the function that it calls, we're just going to have an alert. Show map clicked. Update the map. Job done. So every time we do that, we get an alert. Updates the map. Simple as that. I have done some extra coding. Hang on, I'll add a marker here. I've done some extra coding just to give you a demonstration. So we'll have a look at that. In fact, I'll have a tea break first and then I'll come back to you and show you that.